Alright, what's happening everybody? Two-Head Nordy here with you, and we are listening to a fantastic Shakedown Street, one of my favorite ones that I've ever witnessed. And the reason we're listening to that is because we're going to talk about the origins of the actual Shakedown Street. Not the song that comes on the record with its namesake, but the actual vending area in the parking lot that eventually became known as Shakedown Street. Now, it was not always called Shakedown Street, and I talked to two of my friends. I started seeing shows in '81, as most of you know. I started talking to two of my friends, let's turn this up a little bit, today, who started seeing shows in '76. Grateful Dead related photographers, Alan Petrasic and Dave Stotts. And you can check Dave Stotts' photos out at davestotts.com. Those guys saw their first show in '76, and they said there was nothing like Shakedown. The parking lot was there, people would camp in the parking lot, and all the heads would convene and party, and people would sell some tie-dyes on their hoods of their cars, or people would walk around, but that was usually masking selling weed or acid or something else. So, I'm going to have a little conversation with Dave. He sent me a little video talking about it a little later in this, so stick around for that. That is Dave Stotts, and he's amazing. He's seen shows for a billion years, and he's a wealth of knowledge, and his photos are incredible. So, when I started seeing shows, it was just called the parking lot, and eventually that started to turn into the dead lot. Some of my really early memories of it were when it started to morph into not just a random, people, a band over here and people selling something over here. When it started to get some solidity to it, where it started to congeal into what it is now, I think started around like '83, Ventura, and some of the first Civic shows in San Francisco in the wintertime, because the park was out front with the fountains, and that's just where everybody hung out. I know this happened at other shows, but I'm just trying to put it together. And if you were there and you're on tour and you were doing that and running the timeline, let me know, because I really kind of want to know which way it went, and I was there for a lot, so I kind of do, but it was interesting because some of those venues I just mentioned, I think were the places where it started. On the East Coast, it depended on the parking lot scene, I guess, but, if there was a park or something out front, Oakland a little later, but this was later on, like I'm talking about before it really started to focus into what it is now. Now, I also think that it might have started to become known as Shakedown Street because one of the vendors who was there early on in the '80s, I remember, had this cart that he would push with all his wares on it. He made jewelry and all kinds of shit, and I think he sold weed too. I think I bought some from him. And he had a street sign kind of thing, and one said Shakedown Street, and one said like Uncle John's Way or some other shit like that. I don't remember what it was, but I remember one of them said Shakedown, and he was always seemed to be like kind of in the little hub spot, Another famous photographer, Robbie Cohn, my friend from tour, also would have her photos out all the time, and she started finding the unique corner at the shows to set stuff up where people were passing by. Now, it also had a lot to do with people wanting to make money. Shakedown started congealing into the row that it is now because people, if you can get together, that's where the big crowd's going to come. Now, it formed around a lot of bands. Like, if there was a band playing, like Cubenzas or Purple Turtles back in the day, people would hang around the bands and dance. Well, why not sell your stuff right next to that? Lay your t-shirts down, Run by with your sandwiches or your veggie burritos, Sell some beer, open your cooler up. It's just interesting that it used to be called the Dead Lot, just the parking lot, then it was the lot, then it was the Dead Lot, then it became Shakedown Street eventually, and it, I don't even remember it catching on, and that's why I asked my friends who started in the '70s about it. I
saw my first Grateful Dead show in 1976. I don't remember a whole lot from that show for various reasons. And I definitely don't recall anybody in the parking lot vending or selling any kind of merchandise whatsoever. I just remember the music a little bit. Maybe in 1979 or so, I do recall seeing people walking around with t-shirts and stickers and some jewelry, photos and stuff, and selling them in the lot. But definitely nothing organized in the way of Shakedown Street like it became until more in the early 80s, like 82 or 83. Wasn't a big fan of the word Shakedown Street because I definitely saw quite a few people getting shaken down in Shakedown Street. So a lot used to be more what I would call it.
I remember shakedown as a term catching on until, man, mid to like 85, maybe even 87, 88, you know? I mean, it was starting to get that rep as that, but it really wasn't that yet, you know? It was just super, super crazy. So I wanted to talk about that today because I got the tour calendar out and things are coming up and there's going to be a lot of shakedowns in a lot of cities. So I will see you out there. If you have any information about this, let me know. Like if you remember somebody saying it was, you know, shakedown then let me know. I like this topic. It's fun. I watched it evolve and morph into what it is now. So hit me up with some more info about it, and let's talk a bit more about this. And I will see you all out there very soon because summer tour is starting in 10 days. All right. Peace. See you on the road. Yep.